3 minutes. What happened to Taffy?
I don't know if we had one this time.
Bailed on us? Is Taffy? I'm always like excited to see the intro video, and Taffy let us go.
Maybe he sent one and I just didn't.
Oh man,
see it.
Rob's heart's not in it. Rob's heart's not in it tonight.
Well, he only chose the worst top. Oh crap! He did send one.
Yeah, of course, Rob. You are not. Here's the thing. Rob doesn't ever trust me when I tell him what we're going to talk about. I don't know why.
Well, literally every reply to the tweet today asked why the hell we were doing this one.
I don't know. Sometimes I got a little rant in me, and sometimes I think something's interesting. Even if you people don't understand it, it might be interesting.
Yeah, guys, you gotta understand. Anthony doesn't care what you want.
I don't care.
This is his therapy session.
Yes, I talk about what I want to talk about, and you guys come along for the ride. We'll see how it does. I don't always win. I don't know. Do the best I can. I don't know.
So even the little coaching software that will tell me what's a good title and stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, I put this one. I typed this one in, and it's like, this does not seem to match with your audience. I'm like, I know, right?
Well, I
try to tell him.
I think you should just went with the title I gave. I think it would have been, because I think the debate, it's not really like it's a debate, but like Thomas Massie,
who cares?
His wife passed a year ago, right? And I remember when his wife passed, like everybody, like all these conspiracy theories came out because like it was like seemed like it was so sudden, and everybody was like right away went to like, was
not everyone, a few
most people,
idiots on Twitter.
Most people thought like it could have been the jab, but his reaction at the time was very like nonchalant. Like he was, I don't know, he seemed a little like callous about it. And I was like, all right, he's married for 31 years, his wife passed. And then he announced on Twitter.
You guys have to understand, no matter how you act during any sort of crisis or event, Anthony will say it's wrong and he'll judge you for it. I
mean, it's Twitter. You're supposed to do that. It's what you're supposed to, it's for hot take, isn't it?
You know what? We're starting the whole episode over.
Listen, EBT is down. No more government card. So we take over now. This podcast, Avoiding Babylon, we are the host. Steady, logical, very Catholic. And I am Rob.
I can't believe he got the mayor of Minnesota.
Mayor of Minnesota. I hate Minneapolis. You so much.
It's not much different from my New York City mayor that's coming in. So he pops up a picture of this woman he's getting married to. You have a picture of it?
It's on the thumbnail.
All right, put it up. I don't know. Some people come in midstream.
Hold on, gosh.
Oh my gosh, guys! I don't know how I'm supposed to do a show with a guy that doesn't want to do the show.
You didn't tell me to have a picture ready.
I mean, I put a tweet in there with the picture.
I know.
You can pop that up.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Why don't show it? People say don't show. All right, so that's his new wife, right? I asked the question, should he have waited longer than a year after his wife passed to remarry? And the thing is, marriage is till death do us part. So I don't think there's anything morally wrong with him remarrying, but I don't know. Something seemed like a lack of decorum to just jump on social media a year after your wife of 31 years passed and just pop that up. It just seemed like a lack of decorum, in my opinion.
Yeah, for a Protestant nation, maybe, but who cares? Right? I mean, it's pretty common in the Catholic world, has been for 2 millennia.
So all right, so the reason I thought this was interesting is because I actually have a situation in that I'm pretty close to, where the wife passed and the husband moved on kind of quickly. It was a woman that worked with him, and he moved on pretty quickly, and it almost seemed like the grieving process didn't take place, and it wreaked havoc on the family. Like the kids.
How did the wife pass?
Cancer.
So the grieving could have been done during that.
Probably. I mean, it was like probably about a year process from like finding out till the passing. But the thing is, when she passed, the kids were in this like really deep grief and like, going through losing their mother. And the father was like a month later out on dates with this person and like having a good old time.
Okay, well, a month is pretty fast.
It was maybe 2 months, like 2 months later was like out, like doing this. Yeah, but Rob, like this is a year later, you're getting married. I mean, unless they started dating a month ago and they just got married real quick. Like I it's kind of quick. So it's not, but the thing is like Ryan Grant got married pretty quickly, but he had 9 kids. And I know people are talking about St. Thomas More. Like St. Thomas More, his wife passed, but he also had like a dozen kids. So I don't know if there's nuance to this, right? I don't know. I just don't. I guess I'm holding myself as the standard, and I'm saying like, there's no chance I'm moving on from my wife that quickly, But like, who the hell am I to hold myself up as like the standard bearer of morality? So I don't know. It was just one of those things that just seemed to lack decorum. But it's like, you also don't want, like, I'm trying to think of it if my mom passed, right? Like I think this.
You're all grown,
right? So, but Thomas Massie's youngest is like 12 or 13, I would think. I think I saw a picture. Remember they had that picture of the whole family with the guns. It was like a couple years back. It wasn't too long ago. I think he has like a young teen girl. Like if my mom did pass, like you wouldn't want your father to just be in this dark grief forever. But you would want like an appropriate grieving time. And then you'd actually probably be happy for your dad if he saw some light and started like being happy again, So I don't know. What do you don't think there should be some kind of like a standard grieving period? Like I would think at least a year. Like women, if I passed and my wife's married within a year, I'm coming back and haunting her. Like, no, that's not okay.
I think no, there shouldn't be a standard because everything is going to be, every situation is different. Like if I were to pass now, I have 4 kids under the age of 6. My life insurance will get them a few years at least, but Hope and the kids need someone to provide for them.
Yeah.
Right? The kids are going to need some sort of father figure to at least protect them and help raise them. So, like the thing is, like, you can say, yeah, maybe they should wait a certain amount of time, but what if the perfect opportunity or a good person presents themselves? I don't think you should wait if that's the best option for the family at that point.
You're insane.
What?
You want your wife moving on in 4 months because an opportunity popped up? She's not even worried about you anymore, bro.
I say that.
Stop it. I don't. Hope something happens to Rob, I'll set you up. Don't worry. You got 6 weeks.
If something happens to me, lose his number.
Yeah. I'm gonna be over here still trying to raise money for your family, and Hope's gonna have a new husband. Be like, what's going on here?
They'll be fine. They could be fine for 10 years.
Well, that's the point. Look, I'm just saying, I think there could be an appropriate grieving time. Like I think a widow loses her husband. Like if there's a widow, I think a year she has to wear black. She has to wear black for a year. She's not like dating is not even like an appropriate thing for a year. You think that's crazy? A year?
It depends on the situation.
No, dude. It
does.
You're nuts. You're nuts. A year is an appropriate amount of time.
How many GoFundMe's have we shared on this show and donated to for families that lost like a young husband and they didn't have life insurance?
I still think the wife has a year.
A year
black.
for what? For to go
She has to wear black.
destitute? For her kids to starve?
No, she has to wear black for a year. If the husband left his wife, she can't live a year without him, then maybe that's fine, I guess, because that guy sucked. I mean, that's a failure of a husband if you didn't leave your wife enough money for a year after you passed. I mean, you have a duty to at least have a year's worth of survival for your family after you go, no?
I would think so, yes. I mean, there's
a year. All right, look, and that's a little different for men. A little different for men. Now, I'm not even saying.
How's it a little different for men?
I don't know, because it's different. I think
oh, you had
6
so
months
many
for men.
thoughts, but they were all half-assed.
6 months for men, a year for a woman in black. Like the possibility of a date isn't even coming on your mind.
Okay,
No,
here's
like,
the thing.
you know,
Here's the thing. Your picture in your head of a woman in black morning clothes is probably like the shawl,
yes,
the dress.
He has to basically
gloves,
wear a
everything.
hijab.
Whereas you're thinking, if I have to wear black for a year, I just black t-shirts.
Yes, the woman has to basically look like she's Muslim. She's got to wear the head covering everything. She's got to look like a nun, all right? And she has to be crying for 4 months straight. 4 months of crying. This is why Erica Kirk is making
no. Because here's the thing: after 3 days of crying, you'd be like, crying too much. I don't trust it.
I might.
You would.
If it's a woman, yeah, well, I probably won't trust it. But all right, we do have to talk about Erica Kirk.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do. Because you have stopped me from talking about this for so long.
Oh, I've tried so hard to hold it back.
And you have not let me talk about this for so long. But from the first day she gave her speech, I texted Rob the next day. I was like, I don't know, something's off with that chick. And you snapped.
I replied back. I'm like,
need to say your
mouth. Do not say that in public.
Rob's like, you don't need to say your every intrusive thought. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm just telling you, there's something not right with this chick. I'm like, I said, she carried, like, as the grieving widow, like, the equity that position held, if she, in my opinion, at the time, I'm like, there's something, like, she was coming off to me like, and I'm just saying, look, I'm just saying this is what it seemed like.
Just so everyone knows, I completely disavow.
Yeah,
whatever
Rob did not agree with this. This is kind of the beauty of this show, is that he and I have very different takes on things. Okay. My initial impression.
Hold on.
Yes, this was my initial impression. Almost like she was like happy that the spotlight hog is out of the way now and she can be the star. That's how it came off to me. Okay. And it just.
Real recognize real, right, Ant?
I'm just saying, I know a narcissist when I see one, bro.
Oh,
so
man.
I'm watching the Erica Kirk thing go, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like the constant fake tears where she's only dabbing her left eye with the napkin, not the right eye. So she's only got tears out of this one side, and the looking, I don't know, man. The whole thing just seems so choreographed, and the like, I don't know, that first speech, how she was just promoting TPUSA, and it was like an acceptance speech at the Grammys or something. It was an Oscar speech or something. It was weird.
And if I died today, tomorrow you would come on here and use my death to promote a voting Babylon.
Yeah, but you're not my husband or my wife.
I'm just saying.
I don't have to grieve you. You're not a spouse. I have some duties to you. Let's not. I do have.
You
duties.
wouldn't wear black for 4 months.
Oh, I wear black like this. I'm rocking this. All right. So if you pass, right? If Rob passes, the grieving process is, okay, I start a fundraiser for Hope and the kids. My goal is to get to 1 million for you. That's my goal. Like I'm going to try and get as close to 1 million as I can so that Hope and the kids are set. Like, that's actually what I'm going to try and do. I don't know how close I'll get to it, but I will go on every freaking show promoting that. I will go to the ends of the earth to try and get that for you, right?
I love how our audience thinks us talking about our hypothetical deaths is funny.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm telling you how this goes. If something happens to Rob, Rob passes, right?
Hold on.
Wait,
we do need to talk about a sponsor real quick, actually.
We'll get the requisites. We'll get the requisite. Hang on. So Rob passes. I try to raise money for Hope and the kids.
What's your
because I do feel I have a duty to them. And then the hunt for a co-host begins on day 3, right after the funeral, right after the Requiem Mass.
Day 3 after the funeral, or are you suggesting day 2 is the funeral?
All right, so look, let's say the wake is all right. So let's say you die on a Tuesday. The wake is Friday.
Rob was a good dude.
let's say you die on a Tuesday, right?
Yes.
We get the wake together by Thursday, right? Friday we get the wake together. I don't know, how does that work with a Sunday? Because you can't fulfill your Sunday
most funerals are on
funeral,
Saturdays, aren't they?
So wait, we just got a 1-day wake for you? Or maybe we do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right?
What are we, Hmong? We don't need a 3-day wake.
A 2-day wake. Thursday, Friday's the wake, and then the funeral mass is Saturday.
You guys must do funerals different in New York.
What do you mean? What do you guys do? A one showing?
Yeah, like the night before, and then maybe an hour before the funeral.
Oh, we do 2 days, and you'll have an afternoon showing and a night showing the one day, afternoon showing and night showing the second day, and then you have the funeral mass.
You're putting me in an Avoiding Babylon shirt for the showings, aren't you?
Yes. You're going to wear Have You Accepted Mary as your personal Lord and intercessor? Personal mother and intercessor. Personal mother and intercessor.
Well, I know what we can't put on that shirt now.
Oh, we can't. Well, maybe we should.
Have you accepted Mary as your personal Co-Redemptrix and mediatrix?
Yeah, I think maybe we do need to make a shirt.
Oh,
so, all right. So I'm trying to. Yes, we actually should.
Okay.
Have you accepted Mary as your personal Co-Redemptrix? So, funeral mass on Saturday, right? I'm doing the fundraiser throughout this time. And then I'd say, so that means there's no show on Thursday, guys. So Rob passes on Tuesday. There's no show Tuesday or Thursday. So, I mean, that's a grieving period. You guys are missing 2 shows. So the third show, the following Tuesday, the hunt begins for your replacement.
Are you going to run it like a America's Got Talent thing?
It'd be like, I'll give out a golden ticket or something. I'll do auditions. I'd probably like interview. Well, I'd probably have like fill-ins for 2 weeks. Like I'd probably have
send out
like
invites to all the current, podcasters, inviting them on. Make sure not to send one to Trent. And
I would bring on the regulars. I'd bring on Hitchborn, Pantile, Joshua Charles, and I'd see what the audience thought. Who I have the best back and forth with.
We're not scholarly enough for Joshua Charles.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So all right. So back to Thomas Massie. Like I think the wife passes a year later. It's like then you start dating, or don't announce it on Twitter.
But then if he didn't, people would say he's keeping it a secret.
Yeah, you're allowed to have a private life.
Really? Why the hell are we talking about this then?
Well, this is why you have to have a private life. Like you don't need to announce all this stuff on social media. I'm just saying. So now, we have on everyone, Rob. He
would. Jonathan Peugeot would be booked first week.
So, all right. So, I think he should have handled that with a little more decorum. I don't know how his kids reacted and stuff, but look, it doesn't look right. You lose 45 pounds, you go and pick up a chick half your age. I'm just saying it looks like maybe there was foul play. I'm just saying. The evidence doesn't look all right, guys. Settle down. I'm kidding. We gotta relax. Everybody got really mad at me when I made that joke. I don't know, guys. It's gallows humor. I don't know what to tell you guys. Yes, it's a it's not a bell jar. It's actually, I don't know what it is. It's just a big cup, and I have to make sure my
It's a
water
big
level's
cup.
It's a big cup. So yeah, and the Erica Kirk thing, I did put a clip of Erica Kirk in there that I kind of wanted to play. Wait, is that the right one though? I wanted the one where she talks about Charlie hearing her in heaven. I don't think that's the right one. I don't think that's the right one.
No, that's not the right one.
Well, Erica Kirk, when she was interviewed by Jesse Waters, said that she tells her kids, if you ever want to talk to daddy, just talk to daddy in heaven and daddy hears you. Now, this whole like debacle after Charlie passed about, is Charlie Catholic? You know, Charlie wasn't Catholic. There was Protestants and Catholics arguing over this. And my point was simply that for a Protestant, like they may say they don't believe in the communion of saints. They may mock you if you have a devotion to a saint or ask a saint's intercession. But every one of them, if they lose a loved one, if they lost a loved one, intuitively understands that loved one is still connected to you in some way, and that you can still speak to them and they'll hear you, you know? So like if a husband loses a spouse, I don't care what his theology is, he will still talk to his wife after she's gone, unless you're Thomas Massie and you get remarried in 6 months and you got a wife half her age. No? Boo. All right. Thought that was funny.
I was just going to say, unless your wife's Italian, that she talks to you as she haunts you and yells at you.
So I think it's just, it's almost like Catholicism is just intuitive. And I think that's how church teaching even developed, is just that intuition that when a soul passes on, they're not gone. I think even C.S. Lewis's, like if you ever know someone who lost a loved one, C.S. Lewis's A Grief Observed is a really good book because it's short. You could read it in one sitting. It's like a 30-minute read, but he talks about how like love reaches into eternity. And he says, if she, like, because I love her now, like if she is not now, then she never was. Like if she doesn't exist now, because he loves her still, and that love is an eternal thing. This is almost why I kind of get the argument for pets going to be in heaven, because if you love the pet, like that love,
but you can't
stretches into eternity. Now, I don't know if the pet will be in its form that it is in life, but the love you had for your pet, some form of that love will stretch into eternity, in my opinion.
Coming from the guy who hates all pets.
Yeah, I don't love my pets, but I know people have this like deep love for their pet. Like Don is
Can you really
obsessed
love
with
a
that
pet?
I think so.
In
And I
the
think
like
pets,
the agape sort of way? Can you really love something without a rational eternal soul?
I think so. You know?
I don't know.
I'm not a pet guy, but I know this.
Anthony's really saying this because he wants to see his koi in heaven.
No, I know this. Yeah. Speaking of like widows and widowers, like we did try to get a dog a few years back, and the dog bit one of my kids' friends, so we had to get rid of the dog. So we gave it away, and the guy who took it was a widower. His wife had passed. He was like 65 years old. His wife had passed, and he took the dog. And we checked in with the guy like a year later, and the dog was the guy's best friend. Like the dog went everywhere with the guy. Like the dog filled a hole in this guy's life, and they like the love this guy had for the dog. Like there was something beautiful about it, even though I could care less about the dog itself. Like the love the guy has for the dog, I think will stretch into eternity in some form. I don't know if the dog itself goes into eternity, but that love does last forever. I didn't probably more in the koi for a year. There's still one koi and 3 goldfish left in the pond. All right. Should we talk about this document by the DDF? Did you see the Diane Montagna clip?
No.
that I put in? Throw that up. So Diane Montagna put this out. Sparks fly at today's presentation at the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, a new document on some Marian titles regarding Mary's cooperation in the work of salvation. As an Italian layman, heatedly denounces points made by the DDF prefect. The second outburst, which I caught on video, came when Professor Gronchi said, "It is necessary to take a clear distance from the idea that Mary comes to stand between God and humanity as a sort of lightning rod," an idea, he said, Ratzinger himself repeatedly contested. The Italian layman specifically told Delhi Vatican that he doesn't represent any particular group. Regarding the title Co-Redemptrix, the new document prepared during the pontificate of Pope Francis with some modifications by Leo states that it would be inappropriate and unhelpful to use the title Co-Redemptrix, as many repeated explanations are needed to prevent it from straying from the correct meaning. All right, so play the clip of the guy.
La cooperazione materna di Maria è in Cristo e quindi è partecipata.
Oh, it doesn't have the subtitles?
Cura o diminuisce.
Oh, there they are.
La cooperazione materna di Maria è in Cristo e quindi è partecipata. In nessun modo oscura o diminuisce questa unica.
There's something interesting he says.
Ma ne mostra l'efficacia. In questa prospettiva è necessario prendere netta distanza dall'idea che Maria venga ad interporsi tra Dio e l'umanità come una sorta di parafuso.
We should probably be reading these subtitles. This idea, unfortunately, depends on from the idea that Ratzinger has also contested several times in this opposition between the idea of an angry God and judge. Okay, all right, you can pause it. That's all I kind of wanted to get to. So this is kind of the idea that almost like they're presenting this thing where it's like, well, God is angry, but Mary is gentle and she'll get you in, even though God is this angry God. And it's not, it's like, there's such a lack of understanding. And I think a lot of it comes from like people's personal experience with their own mothers and not understanding certain things about Our Lady. And these were certain things that I picked up. I've talked about it on the show before. Like one was with my mom and one was with my wife. The one with my mom was when my brother was going through some really bad drug use. And all the men in the family wanted to cut my brother off and like give him tough love. And my mom just kept like, we would have at the time thought it was enabling, but it was this position that she took of showing enough mercy to him that when he finally did reach his lowest point, she was the one that he reached out to. And understanding my mom's position there helped me see Our Lady, that like a mother's love is just pure mercy. Like it's like they almost don't have they almost don't have the tough love in them. You know, they just have this disposition towards mercy. And that helped me see Our Lady's role. Like even when you're in your worst sin, you're almost too ashamed to go to Christ with it. You feel a comfort going to Our Lady and just begging her to bring you back to her son. The other one was with seeing my wife react when my daughter was going through something. My daughter was dealing with a bunch of kids being mean to her. And when I saw that situation, I was kind of just like, all right, you know, we'll get through this. But my wife actually felt the pain of my daughter in a way that is unexplainable. Like my wife was distraught, not because my daughter was distraught as much as she felt the pain of the things these girls said to my daughter. And it made me see how Our Lady suffered differently than anybody else at the foot of that cross. Like a mother witnessing her child going through pain. Because even as a father, right? If your child has a splinter or a stubbed toe, like you're like, I'll literally cut my own foot off right now to spare my kid that pain. But a mother will actually feel that pain in a different way than the father will. So seeing that helped me understand like how Our Lady actually suffered the pains of the cross in a different way than anybody else could have. But it also makes me see how when we're all distraught about some of the things happening in the Vatican right now, or even our Latin mass being taken away, or seeing how the hierarchy is flippant about certain things. Like Our Lady is suffering with us when we go through that pain. And she's Our Lady of Sorrows for a reason. Like she truly like experiences that pain with us in a way that, I don't know. It helps me have a deeper devotion to her, and it helps me get through some of the crazier things that we're witnessing in the church right now.
Yeah, I just don't know why the Vatican's so intent on destroying the faith I was raised in.
I'm kind of glad they didn't try to define this.
Well, yeah, they would have,
They would have butchered it.
but they like. On one hand, they defend the theology behind Co-Redemptrix and Mediatrix of all graces, and then say not to say it. It's like, well, then just don't come up with the freaking document at all, you idiots.
Yeah, they would have been better off not having the document.
Yeah,
but I really do see it like
they care more about a bunch of Protestants who will never come to the faith than they do about people who've been, raised Catholic their whole lives. A bunch of frauds. That's what they are.
The thing is, if you do see the church in its passion right now, though, you understand what's happening to Our Lady, and she's suffering. And like them, it's not like they demoted her. It's just they don't exalt her. They don't adorn her with these august titles.
I mean, if you think about it, how many homosexuals have some sort of mother wound? So it makes sense that all the homosexuals in the Curia and in the Vatican would have no idea how to properly, give honor and venerate a mother because they have issues with their own mothers.
Yeah, that's definitely probably part of it. But it's also this like they actually care more. I like my tweet this morning was in an attempt to not confuse the Protestants, the hierarchy has decided to confuse Catholics. There's something so strange about it, because when the church actually proclaims a dogma of Our Lady, like when they proclaim the Immaculate Conception, they think it's going to turn Protestants off, but the Protestants that get turned off are the ones with the hardened hearts. God is the one who converts hearts, not us. So you really should just preach the truth and leave it to God to soften someone's heart, instead of trying to condescend to this Protestant sensibility that it won't actually convert any Protestants. You see the Protestants gloating all over Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and none of them are going to be like, oh, well, the church said this, so maybe I'll be Catholic. None of them. They're just gloating. So it makes no sense. It's just, but I see it as part of the passion of the church. And it's, of course, they're not going to adorn her with these glorious titles and things like that, because that's not going to happen yet. It will happen. She will be declared mediatrix. It's just not time for that yet.
I think it's ironic that you have Tuco Fernandez, who so concerned about causing confusion with Co-Redemptrix, is the man who published Fiducia Supplicans and caused more confusion than that title ever could.
It's like the idea of scandalizing Catholics doesn't cross their minds anymore. They don't care if they scandalize Catholics. They care
because they don't know what the Catholic faith is.
Yeah. They're reducing the Blessed Virgin Mary to the lowest common Protestant denominator that they will accept. They don't care if Protestants become Catholic. It's about synodality. Yeah. It's kind of like Francis when he referred to Our Lady as his sister in Christ. Like that was like one of the most offensive things he said, in my opinion. It's like, don't demote Our Lady, the Mother of God, to our sister in Christ like she's just, I don't know. It's just appropriate for the times we're in. No, they don't know normal Catholics at all. Nope. But the thing is, like, when things like this happen, it should drum up some kind of anger in you and a desire to defend your mother, and it will increase your love for her. It's like when we talked about the statues, like that Protestant who purposely smashed the statue of Our Lady. And I said, if somebody did that in front of me, I would punch them in the face. Like, I know it's a statue, but you're doing it to disrespect my mother, and that I would punch you in the face if you did that in front of me intentionally.
And that would be
an appropriate response.
If they're lucky.
Yeah. And then the other thing was I kind of been going through the book of Genesis because we've been talking about the theme of the older and younger brother a lot, and I'm like, you know what, I should really go back and reread these stories. It's been a few years, and I wanted to really be able to discuss the stories from a deeper level than just saying Cain and Abel, Jacob and Esau, Joseph and his brothers. Like, I wanted to really dive back into those stories, and I forgot how, like, especially before the Ten Commandments come, how wild the world is. You know, like it is a wild world, the especially in the book of Genesis that is being described there. Like, it's not just that Jacob takes Esau's birthright. He does take his birthright, and then he gets the blessing at the end of Isaac's life. But Esau, like, loses it, like totally loses it. And he's like, I'm going to kill Jacob. Like, he has this venom. He wants to kill Jacob. So Jacob, then his father tells him, go to your mother's brothers and tell him you need a wife. So he basically goes to his uncle and marries his first cousin, right? But he goes to his uncle, falls in love with Rebecca, and Rebecca is the younger sister, and he tells his uncle, I'll work for you for 7 years so that I can marry Rebecca. So he works for 7 years. Then on the wedding night, they get Jacob drunk and they slip the other sister in. And he sleeps with the wrong sister. And it's just so crazy how they describe these stories. Like, he was that out of it that he slept with the wrong sister and didn't know it was the wrong sister until the next morning. And he's mad at his uncle for fooling him. And the uncle says, don't worry about it. Just celebrate the wedding for the week, and then I'll give you the other daughter. And you work another 7 years for me. So Jacob's now got 2 wives. They're sisters. He's an indentured servant for 14 years. He's married to his first cousins, right? So did you see I told you to put this tweet in the thing. The Catholic Church gets a lot of hate. Bring that tweet up. Rachel. Rebecca. Rachel. Is it Rachel or Rebecca? Rebecca is Jacob's mom. Rachel is the wife. I don't know. One of the two. I don't know. The Catholic Church gets a lot of hate, but let's give them credit where it's due. They banned cousin marriage, broke up the clans, boosted Europe's IQ, built trust, and even scrapped usury. In short, they accidentally invented civilization.
Accidentally.
So, like, the Protestants went nuts over this. And I actually, like, I started asking them, like, where in the Bible does it say you can't marry your first cousin? Because actually in the Bible, it's promoting cousin marriage.
And even before that, sibling marriage,
like, not just that, like, Abraham goes to a town with his wife, Sarah, and tells everybody, no, it's just my sister, don't worry, and lets his wife get taken. Like, I understand why women have this view that they've been oppressed. It's like, no, before Christianity, women were just like traded off for things. It's like, all right, we're going into this town. Just say you're my sister so that they don't kill me. And now she's getting passed around the town, you know? And that happens not just with Abraham. It happens with Jacob as well. With his, like, he does the same thing. It's so nuts how they treat women in the Old Testament before Christianity. Then Christianity comes, and so much of this plays into Our Lady. Like, the understanding of Our Lady being the crown of creation elevates woman to a dignity that is equal to man. This doesn't exist before Christianity. It doesn't exist before Paul's writings. Paul putting on the slave masters, telling them, you actually can't just go and rape your slaves. Like, there's a bodily sacrality to your slave because of the resurrection. Because Christ is risen from the dead, all of our bodies are sacred and holy. And actually, marriage is a reflection of the church. And, like, this theology is extremely deep. And if it wasn't for Christianity raising the dignity of women to the same to the same dignity as man. Like this is, if you read the Old Testament, you actually see how women were just dealt with. And not just that, you could see the conniving, like you almost understand how there can be trickery in the way like Jews see things, because even Jacob, right, he's dealing with his father-in-law now, and he wants to leave, and the father-in-law is like, no, don't leave, and he's like, okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'll stay, but you have to let me start keeping some of the goats and sheep, but I'll only keep the ones with spots. Like, you can keep all the pure white ones, but I get the ones with spots. And his father-in-law's like, okay, fair deal. Jacob then breeds all the ones with spots to be like really good, and he lets all the white ones just like kind of shrivel away. So he like does this trickery to make his flock way better. It's like, and he deals with his father-in-law in a very devious way. It's really interesting how it's like he makes this covenant with him and he makes a deal with him, and then he does all this shady stuff on the side, and then God still kind of raises Jacob up, and he like makes Jacob into Israel. He's like, you are now Israel. And then Israel has these 12 sons. And this story.
Don't forget that. In what you're saying, Jacob is the Gentiles.
Jacob is, because he's the second born, right? Yep. Esau would have been the story of the older brother not getting the birthright is the theme throughout Genesis, throughout the entire book. And it goes from Cain and Abel, it goes to Isaac and Ishmael. Like Ishmael is the firstborn, and it goes to Isaac instead, right? And then Isaac
born illegitimately.
Yeah,
Ishmael.
well, right, because it was the concubine's child, but it's still the firstborn, and it goes to Isaac, the secondborn. Then Isaac has Jacob and Esau, and Esau's firstborn. Jacob is holding onto his heel as he's coming out, but the blessing that Isaac gives him is like, you will rule over your brother and your brother will hate you. So, but there's this beautiful reunification of Jacob and Esau. So after Jacob spends all this time with his father-in-law, he finally does leave and goes back to the land of his fathers. And when he goes, he sends an emissary to go meet Esau. And he's like, tell my Lord I have gifts for him. And just like, he's just praying his brother doesn't want to kill him. And then when he sees his brother, Esau rejoices that he's back, and they have this beautiful reunification. So like there is something very important about that reunification at the end. And the same thing happens with Jacob's kids. Jacob becomes Israel, and then he has 12 sons, and the youngest is Joseph. And Joseph it's Rebecca. It's not Rachel. Rachel is Isaac, and I'm sorry, Rachel is Isaac's wife. Jacob marries Rebecca and her sister, but Rebecca is barren for like most of their life. And Jacob winds up having kids with the sister and then 2 concubines. And then he has 1 kid with Rebecca.
Yeah, so Rachel is the wife of Jacob.
Rachel's Jacob's wife. So who's Rebecca?
Yes.
Rebecca's Isaac's wife. Yeah, I just read it today too. This is crazy. Or yesterday.
Yes, Rebecca is Isaac's wife.
Isaac's wife. I'm getting Rebecca and Rachel mixed up. I'm Catholic, guys. I'm not even supposed to know my Bible. What do you want from me? I'm not supposed to be reading my Bible. I'm going to get in trouble for this. So, all right. So Rachel has 1 kid, and that's Joseph. And because it's Rachel's only kid, Jacob loves him the most. The brothers are so jealous. The father makes him this beautiful coat. That's Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat on Broadway, if you guys remember. But the brothers are so jealous of Joseph that they go and they sell Joseph to the Ishmaelites, like to the descendants of Ishmael.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up getting sold to Potiphar. And then he winds up becoming like the prince of Egypt. There's a famine in Egypt. The brothers come back, and there's this beautiful reunion. But it's Judah, the brother Judah, who sells him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. Which, if you add inflation, by the time Christ comes, it's 30 pieces of silver that Judas sells them.
If you add inflation till now, it's $7,000.
$7,000 per post on X. But it is this theme throughout the entire book. And it's like, you will hear everybody talk about, no, there's going to be this beautiful conversion of the Jews at the end. There absolutely is. But we're not at that time yet. We're at the time where Esau wants to kill his brother. We're at the time where Cain kills Abel. We're at the time in the story where his brothers sell him into slavery. Like, that's just the point in the story we're at. But we will come to a point in the story where there's going to be a reunification of the brothers. And I'm going to go through the entire Old Testament. I just got through the book of Genesis in like 3 days it took me. So it's just that we're constantly talking about this theme, and it's one that if you're not looking for it, you don't see it. But then once you see it, it's the entire theme of how the birthright's supposed to go to the firstborn, and it's Christ and Adam too. Like, Christ is the new Adam, because Adam was supposed to be in the garden and live a life in the presence of God, but Christ has to come, and he's the second. I mean, he's really the only begotten son, but it's still, he's the new Adam,
Right?
And it's that theme throughout the entire thing, and then it gets
Same thing with Eve and the new Eve.
Yeah, so I don't know, it's an important theme that runs throughout the Old Testament. So, and I don't remember how it plays out after you get out of Genesis, but I'm going to get through all that.
Well, Aaron and Moses are brothers, right?
And Aaron's the older brother.
And yet, yeah,
Aaron's the older brother.
But God talks to Moses.
God talks to Moses. He does make Aaron a priest, but he also gives Ishmael a blessing. Like, and Moses and Aaron are separated. And then they do get this unification when Moses comes back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's in the Exodus.
Then
you have Deuteronomy's kind of like a recap, right?
Yeah.
Then Joshua, right? So Moses doesn't get to go into the promised land, but Joshua does. And Joshua is Yeshua. Like, Jesus is Joshua. That's the same name. So Joshua takes
Bryson Gray.
I mean, it is, though. Like,
I know.
The name Joshua is Jesus, right?
I know.
Yes, I am talking about what is happening now. Like, this is why this topic is on everybody. Like, this is why this topic is actually kind of important. And it's why everything in the news is about. Look, we're gonna have to play it. I wasn't going to. We're gonna have to play it. All right, go with Tucker on Ben. I don't know what, you should let me go solo tonight. It would have been a good solo show. You didn't want to be here. You got to be kidding me. It's not right.
Oh, I'm just tired.
I know, but this topic is important. So let's do. We got Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith, and there's a couple things from this that I thought were interesting.
I did just make the Chewbacca noise, but not as good as Stephen Garone from Catholic Comedy makes the Chewbacca.
Kale wants to talk about this. Kale, I want to talk about this with Kale. So Kale sees this from a different point of view than us, right? Kale actually has Jewish ancestry. I want to do another show with Gideon also, because I think this topic is actually very important.
Oh, can we just have a week without talking about the Jews?
Not when it's in the news constantly. I mean, it's in the news.
It's on your Twitter feed. It's a little different than the news. I mean, obviously this part.
It's in the news, Rob. It's like,
I understand.
There is a war in the Republican Party right now over this.
Good. Tear down, destroy it, screw them. Okay.
Jews in the news. Yeah, no, all right. Let's go with this.
Talented people. But Ben is like very afraid. And I think a lot of the neocons and neocon adjacent people believe this stuff. Like, they believe that there's like a Fourth Reich on the. I know, because I know a lot of them, and they text me, and like, I can't be, Alex Berenson, who's like a very fragile person, but like a good, nice guy and very smart. And I've like promoted Berenson for, oh my gosh.
Me too.
For real, because I really agreed. I thought he was brave, but at the same time, like a very fearful person, very fearful. And I know a lot of people like this, who I really like and have always really liked. And they're texting me like, I can't believe you're a Nazi. Like, I'm going to have to flee the United States. And Ben is like this. Ben fears that he's going to get hurt. And it's like, I look at this and I'm like, I think Ben's fine. You know, it's like, who's more likely to get hurt, me or Ben? You know, it's like not even really close. But that doesn't matter.
Clip,
He
and then
feels
I
that way. And a lot of these
I want to play all 3 clips in a row because all 3 of these are very relevant.
You don't want to talk about it?
I will after the Mark Levin clip, and then we'll play the last one, because this is very much with the things that we talked about with Maudsley, and the reason that the Holocaust narrative as this myth-bearing load is actually like, you think it's what they've done to us with that narrative, but what they've done to Jews with that narrative, like by telling that story to them and making them think that if anybody talks about this topic, there's going to be another Holocaust. Like you see this is the reaction to Tucker even talking to Nick Fuentes. Like that's what this is about, is them thinking that anybody that says anything, it's going to cause another Holocaust.
That's been done with every pogrom, you know, the Jews have talked about forever, right? I mean, like, you know, even, I mean, during the time of the Bible, you have them talking, you know, all they talk about is the last time they were wronged by the Babylonians or by, you know, the Seleucids, then Rome, and then Rome again, and then the Holocaust is just the most recent one.
But it's the one we're dealing with.
It's the one we're dealing with now.
It's
yes,
the one
very
we're
true.
dealing with, yeah.
Very true. Okay, so you want which one do you want?
Just go to the Mark Levin one.
Okay.
The stranglehold on the party. That is the goal. But I just want to say again, as they say these radical, really kind of crazy things, they convince themselves and they become dangerous. I'm just saying that. And also tormented. They're really unhappy. Like, imagine, I mean, I talked to, you know, Mark Levin. I talked to him right after Charlie was killed. I called Mark Levin and I called Ben and I said, I don't want to fight at all with you. I'm actually not obsessed with Israel. You clearly are, but I do think we agree on a lot of things, and like, let's not fight. I called them both and I said that, and they were both nice to me about it. Very nice. And then immediately started attacking me again. Whatever, they can't help themselves. But Levin did say something amazing to me. He's like, everyone hates Jews. There are Jew haters everywhere, and I'm fighting the Jew haters. And it's like, I mean, I guess if you spend your life on Twitter, you run into a lot of Jew haters, but in real life America, like, no, that's not actually, most people are really nice. And there is no Nazi movement building in America. That's just fake. And but I really think Levin believes that. And I think he had one of these like kind of crazy childhoods with like a screechy mother who just scared the shit out of him every day of his childhood or something like that. I mean, clearly this guy's had a lot of like trauma in his personal life, but it almost doesn't matter the cause. He really believes. He said it to me on the phone, Shapiro too. And a lot of other good people who are not necessarily crazy are convinced that the Fourth Reich is rising. And that's bad for them as people because it torments them and makes them unhappy and alienates their wives and deforms their children, right? It's all bad. But it's also bad for America because panicked, hysterical people are capable of doing, you know, things they wouldn't do if they weren't panicked and hysterical. So we do need to like convince everybody the Fourth Reich is not rising. Settle down. I'm not a Nazi. I hate the Nazis. Let me tell you how I hate the Nazis and why.
That's what I wanted to talk about. Like, if this conversation continues and they really do perceive like this is getting more dangerous, like I worry about what their reaction is if they're not successful in their canceling of Tucker and their canceling of Fuentes. Like, I worry what the next step is.
They will do something that causes that brings about, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy is what it would end up being, I think.
I think you're right. I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, I think things get worse, and it's it's kind of strange because like Kale was talking about this today, like the Streisand effect of telling people don't watch Nick is what's making people go and watch Nick.
And that,
people don't watch Tucker. It's making people go watch Tucker. Like there's 5 million plus views on that Tucker Nick interview.
17
million?
Yeah.
On not just the YouTube one, on all platforms, maybe, right?
I think on Twitter.
17 million on Twitter. There's like over 5 million on YouTube.
Right, because all of Shapiro's fans were saying how Shapiro got to 24 million faster than they got to 17 million. Or
yeah, I don't trust Twitter's views though. Like that's like somebody just like stops on the like. It doesn't mean people actually watched it.
No,
like whereas YouTube, 5 million views on YouTube means like there were 5 million views on YouTube.
I think they, in a way, they, and not using they in the nebulous sort of conspiratorial sense. I'm saying people like Levin and Shapiro and such. They want the threat of Fuentes et al. To grow so that they can justify further action, so that their hatred is justified. Because if Fuentes is really canceled, right, and no one's listening to him, well, then who cares about what Levin and Shapiro are saying? Levin and Shapiro need there to be a threat.
It's interesting because before October 7th, like people weren't really talking about this. Like October 7th is what brought this all out in the mainstream conversation. Like but the way this is all going down, it's like they're so used to being able to say somebody's anti-Semitic and then get like a few people to endorse that idea, and then that person just gets shunned. And there's no way to like somebody said, I forgot who, but they were like, there used to be a time, like even with Pat Buchanan, like they accused Pat Buchanan of being an anti-Semite, and he was just like put out of the conversation. Tucker added to that, right? Ben Shapiro put a tweet out talking about Ron Paul, and he was like, you're gripping that pen as you would the neck of a Jew. Like Ron Paul, like what are you even talking about? Like what? This is, but because they did that, like now when they say it about Nick, it has no sting, right? Like there's no sting to it because they use that freaking card so much. And now when people are actually talking, like they used it when it wasn't necessary. And by constantly throwing that refrain out over and over, now people don't really care about the refrain so much. And there's no way to cancel people out of these conversations anymore. There's always going to be some platform where we're able to have these conversations. And people will follow a person they enjoy to whatever platform they're going on. So there's no way to actually shut that conversation down anymore. So I do see vitriol and animosity building against these two things.
Especially when you force people to kind of self-select and move right to these separate smaller platforms, you're causing them to be in an echo chamber. So you are causing them to become more extreme, so either they really don't see that and are just stupid or they're doing it purposefully, once again to drive more extremism. I don't know.
I don't know where this goes, man. I think all of this just gets more and more amplified. What do you think happens in the Republican Party with this? Like, I think there is a major split in the Republican Party at this point. I don't know what happens. Like, I have no faith that we will actually ever get an America First party that actually takes care of this stuff. I don't see that happening. So I don't know where this goes from here. Kale can't join us tonight, but I really do want to have this conversation with Kale because I spoke with Kale yesterday on the phone, and like he made the point. I texted it to you this morning, Rob. Kale was like, okay, I watched an episode of Nick, and when Rob and I talk, you'll hear me go, I'll say like a lot. I'll say, I'll pause for a second to think. Nick will do a 3-hour stream of consciousness without a pause word and just flow and not think about what he's saying. He'll go on this rant for 3 hours straight and just nonstop have point after point hammering down. The kid is unbelievably talented. Like it's abnormal how talented he is when he has points to make. So like even now, like I'm pausing to think about what I'm going to say next. Like he'll just flow on a topic. So but he's also got the problem of all the times he's done those 3-hour streams of consciousness where he'll be trying to make jokes and he'll say stuff and then they're going back and clipping these crazy things that he said, which I mean, I have that gallows sense of humor. I have a very I like irony and humor. Like I think the cookie segment was kind of funny, I'm not shocked by it. The only thing Nick has said that kind of I was like, that was just stupid, was when he said he liked Stalin, because Stalin was so reprehensible. Like what he did to Catholics. If you ever go back and listen to Daryl Cooper's Anti-Humans episode, he talks about what Stalin did to the Catholics in Russia. So these priests would still have hope even in this desolate situation where they would have hope in Christ, right? So they were trying to make the thing those Catholics were using for their hope and make them despise it. So they would make priests consecrate feces and eat it. They would make them have these orgies and dress one of the people up as the Blessed Mother. The thing that they looked to for their hope wound up becoming the point of their torture.
I mean, not to defend Joseph Stalin here. A lot of that was done prior to Stalin. More in the Lenin era
Before Stalin comes to power.
Yeah, I mean, Stalin was no Christian. That's obvious. He was an Orthodox seminarian for a while, actually growing up. But that was more the Trotsky sort of. Yeah. That wasn't so much Stalin, but yeah, I think people misunderstand what Nick was saying about the whole Stalin thing. Not to defend Stalin or even.
Well, I'm glad we're talking about this because I don't know. I only know what I know. So you're like, if you could give a different perspective on this and defend it, I'd want you to.
For those of you who listen to Nick on Tucker, which is really the only longer than 5-minute clip I've ever seen of the guy, right? He talks about how his goal was to eventually, take over the conservative institutions, right? That he saw as being so corrupted. And if you look at Stalin, you have, with the Russian Revolution, you have Lenin, and Lenin's right hand man Trotsky. Stalin was kind of there in the mix. They were really the top three. But Lenin and Trotsky both wanted a much more international communist movement. Russia was the first step in a worldwide, revolution of the proletariat against the bourgeoisie. They didn't want communism to be Russian. It was just the first step. And Trotsky especially saw a worldwide revolution. Stalin saw the opposite. He wanted to use communism to strengthen Russia and the Soviet Union not necessarily in a nationalistic sort of way, at least not initially, but especially after World War II started. He saw nationalism, Russian nationalism, as the only way to combat, Germany. Yeah. So obviously he was still communist. He wasn't, he did planned economy, all of that sort of stuff. But he started using power to build these national institutions up, and he was incredibly effective at it. I mean, Russia.
People say Rob is awake. You bring up Russian history, and Rob perks right up. Boys.
I do. Prior to the Russian Revolution, Russia was largely backwards. I mean, serfdom had just been abolished shortly before, and serfdom was not the same way like medieval feudalism was in Western Europe. It was way harsher. Russia had very few railroads. They really had no industrial centers. It was an agrarian peasant society prior to the Russian Revolution. And it didn't change much until Stalin. Stalin turned Russia into an industrial powerhouse through very destructive 5-year plans. Don't get me wrong. They killed millions of people, many people starved, so on and so forth. But it was effective, and it created a nation that could hold their own against Germany. Nick sees all that effectiveness, and that's what he says he admires. Stalin's will to power, Stalin's will to do what he needs to do, not that he admires his communist politics or his anti-Christian, worldview or anything like that. And so
somebody said something about Hitler. I want to find it. Where the heck did it go? Shoot. He said something like we were just saying Stalin was bad. What about Hitler or something like that? And it's like, the thing is, if you just go through the Darrell Cooper World War II preamble, like when you're going through the preamble where he just kind of lays out what he's going to talk about, and he starts going through what the Jewish propaganda was before World War II started, and that they were writing in newspapers that they were going to use eugenics to wipe out the German population, right? They were going to give every man a vasectomy and tie every woman's tubes, and they were going to do it in a bloodless manner, but they were going to, they after World War I, they felt that Germans had to go. And now they printed this in like the New York Times, and Goebbels basically grabs it and uses it as propaganda, saying, look, your lives are on the line. Like, they are trying to wipe Germany out. Like, there's a lot that goes into that story that we're not even allowed to discuss or talk about. It's just, it's one of those myth-bearing stories where you're not allowed to question any of it. So when you start learning the history of it, and that if you try to see it from where the Germans' point of view was, you just look like a bad guy. Like, you just look like you're evil and you're an anti-Semite. But no, if you actually go into any war or any, like every war that starts, the people who are fighting think they are the good guy in that war. So, we have this idea that America, it was the axis of evil and the Allies fighting. Like, there was no good and bad guys like that when you really start seeing the other side.
It was America and Great Britain that created really all the bad guys of World War II. You have the unequal and unfair peace treaty of Versailles that takes Germany, which was, the most industrialized nation in Europe, and basically, kicks it to the dirt and stomps on it for years under the ineffective Weimar Republic. You got to understand, America and Great Britain were literally starving Germany throughout the peace process, right? When they signed the armistice on November 11th of 1918, the British warships didn't leave the coast of Germany. No, they stayed there, and not an ounce of food got in that country while we were coming up with the Treaty of Versailles. I mean, how screwed up is that? How many thousands and thousands of children starved to death while we were making Germany sign, more or less an unconditional surrender for a war that was started by Serbia in Russia. So, I mean, we created the conditions, of that caused an entire people to hate themselves, to feel wronged, which led to Nazi Germany. At the same time, we left Russia off to hang during World War I, and then to the point where Germany can send Lenin over to cause the Russian Revolution, and we don't provide nearly enough assistance to help them fight the communists throughout the Russian Civil War. So there we go ahead and create the Soviet Union. I mean, we literally created the two big enemies of the 20th century.
Yeah.
Nazi Germany and Soviet Russia.
Yeah. And then when you also understand how, like in a modern context, to see how Israel has an ethno state, they understand the importance of identity and having an identitarian state, and they understand the point of nationalism, but we're not allowed to have that. And the reason we're not allowed to have that is because when Germany started seeing, like, taking pride in their nation and seeing themselves as a people, and going, okay, we have to try to figure out how to fix something. Because after World War I, after that Treaty of Versailles, they're destitute. Their currency is complete garbage. And Hitler comes in and he's like, we need to take pride in ourselves. We're Germans, and we need to start rooting out the usury, and we have to get rid of the pornography. And he starts getting these people to look at their own nation and want to fix it. It's the scariest thing to the older brother, because if you have an ethno state and you take pride in your state, then as long as we're all fighting with each other, like so much of the modern politics, the stupid stuff with the woke stuff and the trans stuff, it's to keep us all at war with one another, so we don't see the things that are actually causing the crisis in this country. And the thing is, at this moment, what you're starting to get is people talking about the actual crisis in this country and the roots of it and the problems of it. And that freaks them out, because if you really start looking at where like me and Rob were talking about the other day, with the way that this country spends money, we're barely able to pay the interest on the national debt right now. Like the interest on the national debt is bigger than our budget. We went up like $1 trillion in 3 weeks or something. Like it's climbing at such an astronomical rate at this point that our money is going to be worthless soon. And once you get to the point where your money's worthless, like that's once people start starving. That's why the EBT thing was such a dangerous thing, because once people stop getting food, like that's when violence starts occurring. As long as we're all fighting about these stupid issues, and we're fighting over abortion, and we're fighting over men and women's sports, you're not looking at the grand picture of what is happening in our country. And what's happening in our country is the next generation cannot afford housing. Nobody can get a job to sustain a family anymore. We're like, the country is falling apart financially, we're completely demoralized. You don't know who your neighbor is anymore. It's all coming apart at the seams right now. And these people actually talking about these issues is scaring the hell out of those people, because those people have a lot to do with the way modern society is formed. So that's why this is all getting so contentious, and I'm worried about where it goes.
Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, while obviously being proud of your nation, your country, and wanting it to succeed and putting it before others is all right and good. Like, the big downside of the Nazi movement, even prior to World War II even starting, was their almost idolization of the nation, of the state. And that's what the Pope came out against in Brendan der Sword, was the idolization of the nation and state, to a place that puts it over what nature would put it.
Yeah.
So I mean, there definitely can go too far, and that's what is going to happen. I fear if people like Ben and Levin continue to push what they're pushing, they're going to get what they fear.
Yeah, it is a concern, man. Like this whole Republican and Jewish coalition they came out with the other day is worrisome, just because of the rhetoric they're saying. Like it's just they're making this 10,000 times worse. Like they're just making it 10,000 times worse. To be better off just ignoring it and just going on about, like, they're making this thing so much worse.
And they
Just
don't,
let people talk about stuff and stop freaking out about it. That is what's making it so crazy.
and every time they bring it up, they lose another not small percentage of Gen Z men.
Yeah. And more than just Gen Z, man. I think a lot of people are still like, because I was talking to guys at work about this. I'm like, what are your impressions? They're like, I just don't. Guys that would never have thought about this, guys that were basically neocons up until the past year or so, like they're all starting to look at this whole situation differently. And it's because something that was in some kind of like a niche corner of the internet is now in the mainstream conversation because everybody's freaking out about a conversation. Like that conversation Tucker had with Nick would have just been a blip. Like it wouldn't have been that big of a deal if the reaction to it wasn't.
The conversation itself was, I'm not going to say boring because like I said, it was really the only time I've ever watched more than 5 minutes of Nick. So it was interesting to me in that sense. But what they actually talked about was rather boring. Was you know, it was a nothing burger.
Did you see Theo from Two Cities critique of it?
I saw him, yeah, but I don't recall what it was.
He was like, everybody's making such a big deal out of this. Nick blew a great opportunity to talk about the synagogue and all this stuff. And I'm like, that just wasn't going to happen. Like that's not, it just wasn't going to happen. But what it did was it got people to go and look at Nick's other stuff. And then you go look at some of Nick's other stuff and Nick gets into, like, he wasn't going to do that on Tucker's show. But
Right.
All right. We're going to jump over to locals. We'll talk about some stuff over there.
What can we talk about on locals?
I got some stuff. Don't worry. We always got stuff we can talk about on locals.
Okay.
we'll do a short local show. Let me think. Do we have anything for locals? We got something. We always got something. I don't know. You want to call it a wrap? We can wrap it. Oh, I know what I want to talk about. Abby Johnson. I want to talk about Abby Johnson.
Could also talk about what Lila said about
Lila and Abby Johnson, the two of them. I definitely want to talk about that because we'll do it over there. We'll do it over there because I don't want to start a war with everybody yet, but
yet
it's gonna come to it.
Who's everybody?
Like, well, the thing is,
because you know me, I'm always up for a good war with everyone.
Should we do it here? You want to just do it here? You want to do it here? We'll skip locals tonight. We can do it here. We'll skip locals.
No, the locals people always get pissed when we do that. Right.
All right, let's do locals because I got a lot to say on it.
Just hold on. I'm trying to log into locals. Give me a minute.
Everybody's saying do it here. Go get a local subscribe. How do you guys like this show and you don't support us there?
Honestly, your inability to pay $5 to support us is a little, you know what?
Just come to locals, guys. It's like, come on. I don't get it. You guys like our show. We're probably like the last show standing out here.
Yeah, we're saving you $10 a month by staying independent.
It's true. It would have cost you guys $10 a month for us.
No, 15.
Oh, there's no $8.
There is, but it doesn't include everything they said it did.
Oh, I didn't know that. For the price of a cup of coffee, you can support a podcast.
Okay, I did throw the link now in the live chat.
Come on, just guys, it's $5 a month.
Oh,
like,
by the way,
on.
we forgot to talk about our sponsor.
Oh, we can do that now before we cut out.
We're the worst.
Okay, so the Christ the King sale is over, right?
The Christ the King sale is over, yes.
But if you go to recusinsellers.com, they still have 10% off. So you don't get the 20% off. You guys missed out on that, but you still get 10% off. Recusin Cellars is an amazing not just a winery. What do they call it?
It's a winery and family farm.
I know, but what do you like when you're going out, not just to the winery?
Vineyard?
Vineyard. There you go. It's a vineyard. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. I'm tired, guys. Yes, they are a winery, vineyard, family farm, but they're an amazing Catholic family that supports us. They let us talk about the most controversial things, and they still love us. I don't know if they're going to stay with us throughout the whole year, but we have some other sponsorships coming. You know what else we got? Cameron O'Hearn on Thursday. I'm telling you guys, do not miss that show because we are going to make it very, very uncomfortable for Cameron. He has no idea, but we're going to put his feet to the fire and ask him why we were not in episode 3.
Apart from the reason of only having 1,200 subscribers at that point.
And Molly says, get the Fuji apples from Reckies and Cellars. So they have wine. They ship to most states, but they also have fruit. Go check them out, guys.
So
Good way.
You might not have known, but he knows now.
No, he's not going to know. He don't watch our show.
He don't watch us.
He don't watch our show. He's going to be totally surprised. We're going to hold his feet to the fire. We want to know why we weren't on episode 3 and why they keep stealing all our show ideas. It's going to be a fun show. So definitely check us out Thursday. And if you guys are not,
I just want to know that producer Jake, not producer Jake, Joe McClane's producer Jake, but producer Jake from Mass of the Ages, why he doesn't watch us anymore.
That's a good question. Is he still with Mass of the Ages?
Did he die?
I don't know. But I want to talk about Abby Johnson. So if you guys want to hear us talk about Abby Johnson, come check us out.
Okay, I'm gonna start cutting these here. So goodbye, everyone. I wish they had a better way of doing this.
Yeah, you should be able to cut them all at once.
Or something, yeah.
I mean, you usually